Hey you guys, how are you? We don't have a countdown timer anymore. It disappeared yesterday and it's gone. I can't find it. I don't know how to make it come back. It's just missing. So I'm probably gonna have to go into Canva and make a whole new countdown video for us for tomorrow. But so we're gonna start off very cold. Normally you get a 30-second countdown. Today you get no countdown. Sorry about that. It doesn't help me either because I like to set up during that time. We're just gonna have to deal with it. But how are you all? Good to see you. This is Nights with Ping Friday night live show. It's great to be back. It's nice to be here. Hey, Mr. Dan Yee sent in a $20 super sticker. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And it's weird on the StreamYard, I can't actually see what the sticker is, but if I go into my settings in my YouTube, I can. And it says here, it is a little dancing symbol saying woot or loot. Let me see what it says. Yeah, woot. There we go. It's a little dancing controller saying woot. Thank you, Danny. I appreciate that. It is very kind. Let's get into it. We just jump straight in. This is probably one of the biggest stories. I got about 20 emails about this already. I know Maria sent it to me, DJ sent it to me, maybe Angela sent it to me, a bunch of other people. It's about Robert Pickton, and he was bashed in prison a while ago, and he's been in an induced coma for a period of time. Apparently, he died today. So, yeah, he was assaulted in a Quebec prison. Let's watch this video so I can actually get set up because we have no countdown timer. Let's get set up. There we go.
One of the country's most notorious prisoners is dead. Robert Pickton has died from injuries sustained earlier in the month in a Quebec prison assault. Pickton's death is stirring up complicated emotions on the other side of the country in British Columbia. CBC's Georgie Smythe joins us now from Vancouver. So, Georgie, what can you tell us?
Well, as you said, Pickton was in that medically induced coma and on life support after he was attacked in what was described as a major assault by another inmate at that maximum security institution about 450 kilometers northeast of Quebec City. His death was confirmed in a statement by Correctional Service Canada. Just recently, the statement said that he died in hospital following injuries resulting from that assault. The statement also said that people who were registered as victims or families of the victims, many of which are, of course, in BC, would have been notified of his death. It went on to say that an investigation into the assault that took place would also happen. The investigation would examine all the facts and circumstances surrounding the assault against Pickton, including whether policies and protocols were followed. It said it would also identify any recommendations or corrective measures as needed. Of course, we're waiting to see for more reaction in BC, where many of these murders did take place. Robert Pickton was one of Canada's worst serial killers. He was charged with the murders of 26 women in 2007 and was convicted of the second-degree murder of 6 women who disappeared from Vancouver's downtown east side. In total, the remains or DNA of 33 women, many of whom were Indigenous, were found at Pickton's pig farm in Coquitlam in BC, about 25 kilometers east of downtown Vancouver. We did speak to families of the victims just days after the news of this assault broke earlier this month, and the sister of one of Pickton's victims told us that she felt relieved that Pickton had been attacked, and she was happy to hear the news that he'd been attacked. The families of these victims have very much been involved in advocacy even in the years since. Even just a few months ago, were holding a vigil outside the pig farm where some of those remains were found, and that was off the back of news about parole eligibility that Pickton was possibly facing. And at the time, a relative told us that Pickton needed to stay in prison until he died, which is exactly what's happened today. Jacqueline.
Georgie, thank you. That's the CBC's Georgie Smythe in Vancouver.
That was like a Canadian channel, but I reckon that woman was Australian. She didn't sound Canadian. She sounded Aussie. Very brutal guy, considered one of the worst serial killers in Canada. I think it's him and maybe that Air Force guy that killed a bunch of women. Maybe those two are the, prime ones in Canada that I can think of. And, I mean, you look at that scene of that pig farm where I don't know how many. I'm not a huge info on this case, but I do know who he is. It says he took female victims to his pig farm during a crime spree near Vancouver in the late 1990s and early 2000s. He died after being assaulted in prison, authorities said Friday. He was 74 years old, and I want to find out more about his victims. They said police began searching the Picton farm near Vancouver more than 22 years ago in what would be a years-long investigation into the disappearances of dozens of women from Vancouver's seediest streets, sex workers, users of drugs abandoned on the margins of society. So he preyed on, like, the people on the, underground of the sex world, really. The remains or DNA of 33 women were found on the farm. Picton once bragged to an undercover officer that he killed a total of 49 women. So there's probably women out there or bodies that they've probably never found, never identified, not enough left of them to get a DNA test. He really was disgusting. They said during his trial, prosecution witness Andrew Bellwood said Picton told him how he strangled his victims and fed their remains to his pigs. Health officials once issued a tainted meat advisory to neighbors who might have bought pork from his farm, concerned the meat might have contained human remains. It says Cynthia Cardinal, whose sister Georgina Papin was murdered by Picton, said Picton's death means she can finally move on from her sister's murder. Yeah, I think even sometimes when these people are kept in prison, you saw in that video, they're still worried about parole. And even at 74 years old, if he ever got out, I don't think those urges for a man this sick ever goes away. I don't think so. I think he'd still go out to victimizing females and sex workers, drug users, that type of thing. I don't think it goes away ever. Hey, Moonshadow. Hey, good to see you. Thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Moonshadow says, I am always on the replay crew. Tonight I made the live. Love your channel. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Glad to be here. Amber E says, I hadn't heard of him. Good riddance. It seems really sad to say it in that way, but it's almost like, yeah, thank God he's gone. The family can move on and celebrate their loved ones like what they did in life. And they don't have to worry about going to any more parole things. And the government doesn't have to fund him being in prison, any kind of special access or security. That's the thing. It generates thousands of dollars a year in just security measures to keep some of these guys safe in prison. Like, it's hundreds of thousands of man hours and dollars and blah, blah, blah. Could go to other things that could really help other people. Instead, we spend it keeping a lot of these people locked up and safe. So a lot of people will see this as a win in a lot of different ways. At 74, some people may say he had a longer life than he should have. Maybe. So I'll show you here's some court drawings of him from, I guess, his trial. Yeah, it says it's an artist sketch showing serial killer Robert Picton taking notes during the second day of his trial in BC Supreme Court in 2006. So almost, what? I don't know. Almost, what is it? 10, 20 years ago. Almost 20 years ago now. It's a long time. His name was Robert Willie Picton, was convicted of 6 counts of second-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison in 2007 with the maximum parole ineligibility period of 25 years after being charged with the murders of 26 women. I wonder how many they never found. Because they say here again, the remains or DNA of 33 women were found on the farm. but he bragged to that undercover officer that he may have killed up to around 49 or 50 women. So you subtract what, 33 from 50, you're getting like what, 16 or 17. There could be still a few more families out there who never imagined that their loved one was killed by a serial killer, and it could be very well possible. Sherry Runs Late said our government spends more money on prisons and schools across America. Isn't that sad? Instead of educating the next brightest generation, they'd rather spend it on keeping people safe in prison or whatever for 50 years. But hey, that's the legal system we have, and that's the justice system we have, and we have to abide by it, I guess. Susan Smith is one. Shock says Susan Smith is one of those that should never have parole. Yeah, never. There are a few out there. Susan Smith, yeah, I think we've spoken about her before. So yeah, this is pretty. I don't think this is shocking. I think when he was beat to death in prison, or he was basically on life support, I don't think many people expected that he would recover. And that was a while ago. Hold on, let me find out when he was actually beat in prison. I know it was earlier this month, but I don't know a day. May 19th, is that what it was? Yeah, yeah, May 19th, assault involving another inmate. So that was what? Let's go back. Just shy of 2 weeks ago, roughly. So about 10 days ago. So he didn't last very long in hospital. They must have really beat the crap out of him. Let's, for all of us, hope she never does. There's a few people I wish would never get parole. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I want to pull up another video from his court case. One moment. All right. It's not from his court case. It's just one of the other update videos, but might show you more about the farm.
This is what's left of Robert Pickton's notorious pig farm. Remnants of the pain he caused, tributes to the women he killed. The serial killer was attacked by another inmate in prison earlier this month. The Vancouver Sun reports Pickton was stabbed in the head with a broken broom handle. For some victims' families, there is now closure, even joy.
A relief and just happy. To be honest, I jumped up and down.
Tammy Lynn Papin's sister Georgina's DNA was found on Pickton's pig farm, along with the remains or DNA of 32 other women.
It was only her left hand, the bones of her left hand.
In 2007, Pickton was convicted of 6 counts of second-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. Official justice likely for only some of his victims. He had bragged to an undercover police officer he had killed 49 women.
Those families are reliving that now, and they're the ones who should be remembered, not the serial killer who committed those crimes.
Justice took too long. The conviction came a full decade after reports sex workers, many Indigenous, were disappearing from Vancouver's downtown east side. Investigations were botched. A commission later blamed systemic bias and fragmented policing.
Obviously, his legacy is one of horrible notoriety and the innocent suffering, the devastation that he caused so many innocent people.
Pickton's brutality and the failure to stop it sooner forced Canadians to reflect on how our institutions treat the vulnerable, especially Indigenous women, a reckoning still unfolding.
Now, if any vulnerable person goes missing, the police have an obligation, a legal obligation, to do an investigation and to report back to the families.
Police and prison officials are investigating the attack on Pickton, a brutal end for a man with a brutal legacy. Lindsay Duncombe, CBC News, Vancouver.
While watching that video, I actually went to grab the photo that you see at the end of the video here with all these victims on it. I actually grabbed the full length one because I wanted to show it to you. Just how many lives were affected, and there's probably more. Like I said, if he's bragging about 50 victims or 49, 50, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna think a serial killer is lying about how many people he killed. He probably sees it as a badge of honor. So there's probably other women out there that they can't find. Pretty sure this is the photo here. Let's upload it. All right, there we go. This is all the women that he killed. And I'm going to try blow it up on my own computer so I can read it for you. All right, there we go. There's heaps. There's so many names on here. Lillian O'Dare, Wendy Allen, Rebecca Guno, Sherry Ray. There's a lady called Yvonne Linda Grant, Cheryl Donahue, Laura Ma, Elaine Allenbach, Teresa Williams, Ingrid Sowett, Elaine Dumbra, Mary Lands. There's so many. Nancy Clark. I mean, you just look at this list. There's just so many women. They did say a bunch of them were of Indigenous background or Native background, First Nations. You know, you think about preying on women, you're preying one on either sex workers, drug addicts, then you have a third criteria, Native or Indigenous people, and you've hit the trifecta of marginalized people in society, haven't you? So you're a real scumbag. You just went to the people who are already hurt, ignored by society a lot of the time, and you're like, hey, let me victimize you and take almost 33 proven or whatever and 49 maybe off out of this world, and let me abuse them and desecrate their remains. That's the type of person he was. And then fed them to pigs and buried them on the farm. It's disgusting. His legacy should be that we need to do better for marginalized women in our society. We talk a lot about it on this channel. A lot of times where people who are sex workers or they're just down on their luck, they're often ignored. And you know, it's funny, you hear about all these things like, oh, there's $250 million in federal funding to help these type of women. Never seems to get there. Never seems to help anyone. I mean, I'm sure there are some great people in there that work day in and day out to try and make a difference, but unless you get, you know, proper funding and more people on the ground and, you know, stuff like that, it's never going to change. Hey, Evil Alaska, how are you? Oh, isn't that crazy? You went on medical missions to Haiti? God, threw a baby to the wild pigs in a mercy killing. Oh, that would haunt me too. I'm glad we don't have to do that. I don't know. This is way before my time. I think a lot of the killings were either in the mid to late 90s or early 90s and then into the 2000s, and then he was finally caught. But isn't that creepy that the federal government in Canada actually put out a warning to his neighbors not to buy meat from his farm because it could contain human remains? I mean, it's not a joke. Like, they're like, hey, don't eat his sausages. They may be 15% human. It's like, you know, we see these in sci-fi things and stuff like that. I find that creepy as hell. Yeah, very, very similar to the Long Island serial killer. For a long time, those women were pushed off, don't care, dead for 25 years, missing for 20 years, don't worry about it. And same thing. A long time. When was the earliest? Let me go to his listing. Hold on. Let's see when his earliest victim that they can find was. Someone in Canada probably knows better than me. I'm trying to see when the first victim might have been. Victim. Okay, so maybe 1997 was the 1991. That's I think that's the earliest I can see on this list. Yeah, no, I don't see any 80s dates. The earliest I see is 1991. Her name was Mary Ann Clark, and she disappeared August 1991. And then I think the next one after that is a 1995 missing woman. It is Diane Malenik, 23. She was 23. She was actually considered count 21 in his indictment, and she was last seen December 1995. There was another person in 1995 just called Jane Doe, discovered February 25th, 1995. Picton refused to enter a plea on the charge involving this victim, known in the proceedings as Jane Doe, so the court registered a not guilty plea on his behalf. The count as drawn fails to meet the minimal requirements set out in Section 581 of the Criminal Code. Accordingly, it must be quashed, according to Justice James Williams. The detailed reasons for the judge's ruling cannot be reported in Canada because of the publication ban covering this stage of the trial. I don't know. They never updated it. His trial was 20 years ago, so they never updated that fact. Maybe it's still sealed from being reported. But apparently another Jane Doe that went missing in February 1995. So that would predate the December 1995 killing of Diana Malenik, I'm going to say her name is. So, yeah. So the earliest one that they have here is that Mary Ann Clark. She was 25, disappeared August 1991. So after Picton was arrested, witness Lynn came forward to authorities claiming to have seen Picton skinning a woman hanging from a meat hook years earlier, and that she had not told anyone about it out of fear of losing her life. Additionally, she admitted that she had blackmailed Picton about the incident on more than one occasion. What? This witness saw him skinning a woman hanging from a meat hook. That, I don't know, that's something you take to the grave. I think it's something you take to the police. Says the victim's children filed a civil lawsuit in May 2013 against the Vancouver Police Department for failing to protect the victims. They reached a settlement in March 2014 where each of the children was compensated $50,000 without an admission of liability. Yeah, interesting. Let me look it up. Witness Lynn Ellingson. See if I can find a video on what she saw. That would be interesting, right? No, I can't, but can't find her testimony or anything. Hey, Penguin. Oh, hey, guys. So someone else asked about, sorry, I got an email. Someone else asked about this last night. When we made the changeover to the monetization, I've been using a very old ending video since before, I think it's almost before I got sick or just as I got sick. So some of the names are from over a week ago. Because of the way the licensing works now, I'm having to make a whole new video for the end of the video. So I held a bunch of people's names back over the last, probably since I was missing and sick last week. So there's a whole bunch of people. There's like Penguin. There's another person that I was speaking to last night. I don't know. I don't want to embarrass people, but there's a couple of people. So I kept your names for this month so you guys can just stay on the video for this entire new month of June, because I felt bad because I was away so long, and I was just like, with the issues with the licensing for the new channel. So before we were monetized, I could run whatever I wanted, and I don't get any copyright because there's nothing they can do to my channel. But now that I've applied for it, I'm getting like copyright strikes like every hour on my channel. I get 10 emails every hour saying you can't monetize this video any longer because it contains a copyrighted song at the end of your video. So I'm having to redo all of that and make a whole brand new ending video, submit the licensing for it, make sure it works with Canva, make sure it works with YouTube. So yeah, so don't stress. There's a brand new video coming. If your name wasn't on in the last week or before, or just before I got sick, it's okay. You're going to be on the new video for June, and you can just stay there for the whole month as a sorry for being missing and sorry for the the mess up with the licensing on the music and stuff like that. So just hold on. It'll be here. It'll either be here tonight or tomorrow. I'm just waiting to see if we can use it or not. So all good. Nalana says no on Gambler. I have heard from Gambler. This is what he wants me to tell you. That he has contacted me and I know he's safe. That's all he wants me to tell you. So that's it. He'll be back when he can. That's all he wants you to know. Just that he has been in contact, he is safe, and he'll be back when he can. I don't even know what's going on. I just think he's just having some time out or something. Maybe true crime's too much for him. Yeah, because people were worried about him that he's here every night, and the fact that he hadn't been seen in like a month. So no, he's okay. I don't know what's going on or whatever, but maybe he's just sick of true crime. So Penguin, you are okay, my friend, okay? You'll be on for the entire of next month. Give everyone a free month to be on the ending video. Same with Betty C. Betty C also missed out on the last week or so of, May. So I just put hers, Penguin, a couple other people, just for the entire month of June as a makeup, because I was away for so long. And then we had this licensing bloody issue. So Nanalana says, Gambler, if you're watching Hugs and Prayers, yes. By the way, Penguin asked a question. I'll read it out because I've had other people ask this too. They said, is there a minimum you need to donate to get onto the end video? No, there's people that donate $1 and I'll put them in the end video. There's people that donate more than that and I put them in the end video. There's no order to the people on the video. I've had people email me saying, oh, is the name at the top the highest donator or whatever? No, I just do them in the order they come in. If yours comes in at the start of the month, your name will probably be at the top. If you come in at the end of the month, you'll probably be on one of the other, there's several little stacks that go across the screen. You'll end up in one of the other stacks. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's not for better or worse people or whatever. I do everyone equal footing. I don't treat people differently. So I hope that covers that. Hope no one is upset. I'll fix it. We'll get back. We'll get back to business. We just had some changes in the last week since I got sick. All right, let's go to another story. By the way, I find it very interesting with the Chad Daybell thing about the victim impact statements. I thought, how can you keep just hearing that kind of stuff is just horrible. Anytime someone is affected by violent crime, especially one that's like this well publicized, and then you hear internal emotions of people, I don't think, I don't know how the jury does it. I think they would I don't know how you keep a straight face and then keep to the facts or whatever. And I don't know if I could ever do it. I'd just be like, just give them the highest thing, listen to their pain. See, I'd be terrible on a jury. But I hope they come back with a fast decision. That's what I'm hoping for. Another quick one. Annie Cushing? Sorry, someone sent me something about Annie Cushing. What is this about? She shared an impact statement. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to our next story. We've had a few today. It's been a really busy day in true crime. Very busy. All right, let me grab this one. Oh, this is interesting. Actually, DJ, do you want me to do the one that you sent in about the 15-year-old? I can do that for you. This is weird. I've never heard of someone using AirPods to track down a hit and run driver Good work, DJ, finding this one.
Listen to this story. A hit and run driver is now behind bars thanks to the quick thinking of the 15-year-old boy he hit.
Yeah, NBC6's Adrian Chriskout explains how an earbud helped track down the suspect.
Good afternoon. The suspect, 49-year-old Peter Swing, is now behind bars here in Martin County Jail. What is remarkable of this story is how officers were able to track the suspect of this hit and run. An AirPod of the teenager landed inside of the car when he was hit. That way, they were able to track him down. This is Lachlan Nickel, a 15-year-old teenager. Again, this is the same teenager, but in the hospital after he crashed against a car that left the scene while he was riding his bicycle last week in Jensen Beach. Authorities started to investigate, and it was thanks to an AirPod that the teenager had in his ears when the crash occurred that they were able to track the suspect. According to Martin County Sheriff's Office, during the impact, the teenager's head hit against the passenger's window, and one of his AirPods fell into the car. When officers arrived to the address where the AirPod was, they found a covered and hidden vehicle in the back part of the house. His owner, Peter Swing, confessed he was the one that crashed with a teenager, but did not stop because he went into panic, since he has previously been in jail for drug charges. He was immediately placed under arrest and taken to the county jail.
I think the family will undoubtedly feel some measure of justice, but we can't undo what happened. And I think the real sting here is that he left an unconscious child in a dark parking lot and drove away.
Fortunately, the teen's mother told us that her son left the hospital and is now at home, resting and recovering. Sheriff Snyder said that the accident itself was just that, an accident. And if the suspect would have stayed on the scene, most likely he would only be facing a ticket. But because he left the scene of an accident with bodily harm, now he's facing serious charges and is now behind bars. From Stewart, I'm Adrian Chriskout, NBC6 News.
Convicted.
You know, I've seen a lot of this in true crime, where if someone had stopped, rendered assistance to someone, and not run away, they would have only got, I don't know, community service or a suspended sentence, maybe not even charged at all. But by them running, by them trying to hide the crime, they end up making their situation so much worse. They make it seem like they knew something was wrong, so they ran. They knew it was a crime, so they ran away. And the cops don't like that, and they just go after you. And they just like stack as many charges as they can, because they see it as like one of the worst things you can do is to leave a victim, just dying in the street without rendering help or calling an ambulance or whatever. There's been a few like that. So this guy, it's a good lesson. You ever do something like this, just stop. It's going to be so much less worse for you if you just help. Just help. Do what you can, and let the investigation go where it can. I mean, get a lawyer if you want to. Don't have to speak to police, but just don't run. You run, it makes you look so much worse than it already is. I know there are people that get away with it, unfortunately, in our society. There are people who hit and run, and then 3-4 years later, you're like, oh yeah, we're still looking for that hit and run on 18th and Main Street where it killed an 87-year-old woman. No one has ever come forward, and there was no video footage. So I guess some people want to play their odds in how they do that. Yeah, so that's a really interesting one. Thank you, DJ. I appreciate that. A set of AirPods. I would never have guessed. I guess you can get tracked with anything these days. Shock said, my son was hit on a bike while in college. The woman stopped and asked if he was okay. He told her he didn't know, and she drove off. That's not an answer. It's not a deciding factor. Oh, you don't know? Great. I'll see you another time. Bye. I'm out of here. You know, Mrs. Ping had a bad day yesterday. She was leaving from somewhere near here, and she was on the highway, and it was like really stop and start traffic, and she had to stop for an intersection. As she stopped, the car behind her thought she was still going and ran straight up her butt. The car needs to go through insurance and stuff like that. He just kept going. He thought traffic was gonna keep going, so she was on the accelerator, but then had to stop because of the car in front of her. He wasn't paying attention and went straight up her ass. So what a great night that was. I get a phone call I'm like, wait, where is she? And get a phone call. She's like, oh, I'm in the car park of some place. The guy was pretty good. They were on a freeway, which meant they couldn't stop. And she pulled off the highway and went into a car park, and he followed her and made sure she was all right. He actually gave her his details and admitted that it was his fault, and only didn't ask for anything from her, just gave his details. So we'll see what happens with insurance. She said she's fine. No whiplash or anything. It wasn't going that fast because it was stop-start traffic. So she says she's okay. Car's a bit messed up. The bumpers just crushed in on the back. And it's weird. He didn't have any damage on his car, and her car took most of the impact. But, you know, when you get hit from behind, it's normally the driver behind you who is at fault, because you're supposed to have your eyes on the road and, you know, keeping an eye on stuff. So, yeah, long night last night. Hold on, guys. Give me 1 second. I'll get another video up. By the way, so another thing I get a lot while we're doing this ending video thing, make sure if you do donate in one of the other ways, Ko-fi, PayPal, whatever, leave whatever name you'd like in the ending video. Sometimes people don't leave a name, and all I have is their first and last name, so I just put first and then the last initial of their last name, because I don't have a chat name for them, and I have no way of verifying who it is. So if you want that, make sure you put in a comment, hey, this is from Amber-E, and I'll be like, hey, okay, I can put it as Amber-E in the video. So make sure you do that, so I can make sure your privacy is respected. I don't want anyone's privacy being impacted. Sherry Runs Late said, the semi-driver stopped in the middle of the intersection and kept on driving. I was on my way to a funeral. Geez, that would have been a hard day. On the way to a funeral, and then you get in an accident. That's got to be the worst day ever. All right, more stories for your faces. By the way, I saw this in the paper. It's not really true crime, but it is disgusting. I don't know if anyone saw this, but it says a black molecular biologist is banned from buying a $750,000 Virginia Beach condo because of her race by apparently a white owner. Apparently, she did a virtual tour of the house, but at the time she was just doing it through a webcam, and her face wasn't on the video. And then she did a inspection in person, and when she did the inspection in person, the owner came out and demanded the real estate cancel the deal, even though she had already put money into escrow, and yeah, turned into this giant fight. I think they said that they've now, because once you put money into escrow, you can't cancel a sale of a property. It's basically a legally binding contract. So I think she's still getting the property, and that person is in a lot of trouble. So yeah, don't do that. Don't be a racist. If you want to sell something, you have to understand it's an open market. You sell something like that without meeting the buyer or whatever, it's your fault. And you shouldn't be like that anyway. Who cares? It's a property. You're going to get your money. Money is money. You know, it doesn't matter if it comes from there or where or wherever. Once you sell it, you have no control. All right. Let's see what else we have on our list for tonight. By the way, I hope you had a great Friday. Everyone had a good Friday night tonight. Hopefully no crazy weather. Hopefully the crazy weather has disappeared. Thanks for the email, Maria. I'll have to read it later. It's a little long. Can't read it during the show, but I appreciate it. She's sending me some stuff on Picton, and I'll read it a bit later. Oh yes, thank you, DJ. See, DJ knows what I want to talk about every night. This was the other interesting one from tonight. The Jennifer Doulos trial. Ex-girlfriend of Jennifer Doulos' estranged husband. That's a long way of putting that. Sentenced to 14.5 years in prison for conspiring to murder the mother of 5. I thought I read she got like 20.5 years all up or something. Hold on. Let me find it. Where is her? It's Michelle Troconis. Let's find a video for you. Here. From Fox 61. Your news, local news.
Hi, good evening to you both. Yeah, that decision from the judge came down tonight after hours of emotional, raw statements from people whose lives have been forever changed since Jennifer's death. That, of course, actually probably more than anyone, includes her 5 young children who we heard from. They spoke publicly for the very first time. We also heard from Michelle Troconis' daughter and the defendant herself.
The following sentences are going to run concurrently.
After a 5-year wait, Michelle Troconis learning her fate.
20 years, execution suspended after 14 and 1/2 years, 5 years probation.
Moments before, the defendant spoke up.
I deeply regret ever being in a relationship with Fotis Doulos.
The judge making his decision after hours of victim impact statements.
Your Honor, I understand that sitting over there is a mother with a child and a family who love her. My mom once had that. We once had that, and she helped destroy it.
One by one, all 5 Doulos children pouring their hearts out for the judge, remembering and honoring their mom, Jennifer Farber Doulos.
She was my favorite person in the world, my role model.
Sharing their pain publicly for the first time since their mother was taken from them on May 24th, 2019.
Mom and Dad are words that only bring trauma and grief. I feel scared that it will happen again and again to everyone I love most.
Begging the judge to give a harsh sentence for Troconis, the woman convicted of conspiring with their dad to murder their mother.
An appropriate sentence, Your Honor, would be 50 years, 10 years for each child who lost their mother that day.
Behind the children, an army of Jennifer's close friends, supporting them and speaking out for her, as they have for 5 years.
We don't even have the comfort of knowing where she is. Where is she, Michelle?
Troconis staring straight ahead until her friends.
You know, I paused it there for a second. I think that's a really good point. The fact that they don't know where she is and that she may have some idea of where she might be located. I think it's wrong to give such a low sentence. They should be using some of the higher sentencing. Maybe that's the most they can do in the charges that she actually got. But I know in Australia sometimes they actually smack you with like a 50-year sentence if you don't give up where the body is, or you won't help investigators honestly. So they'll use something like, I can't remember what the wording is, but it's like, you haven't been honest and helpful with the investigators to share the knowledge that you do have. Therefore, you're not required or accepted to have any discount in your sentencing. And I would find that interesting here. I think the reasoning from the other child saying 10 years for each of the children would make a 50-year sentence. I think that's pretty good. He said it was the most he could give her. Damn, 50 years sounds pretty good. 20 years will go like that, unfortunately. She may be, what's the min? 13.5 or something? Where was it? 14.5, I think, is the lowest, right? That she can stay in. It's not very long, is it? You know, you see some of the evidence, like the blood stains found in 3 places on the vehicle, and like the garage video, and it's very... Yeah, Penguin, like in Australia, where they have the no body, no parole laws in New South Wales now. I think a couple other states are looking to adopt it, where if you don't give up the body, you never getting released from prison. Doesn't matter what your sentence is. It just means you're not eligible for parole. And I kind of like that law because far too many killers of people have been able to serve out their sentence because they were young enough when they killed people, not give up the body, and then get out of prison, still hold that information and keep traumatizing the family until they finally pass away, still never knowing where their loved one is. And that's wrong. That's wrong. You get convicted of a crime, it should be chained to you that you have to give up everything to be able to get parole. It shouldn't just be like, oh, you definitely seem like you're remorseful and you've learned your lesson in prison and seem to be rehabilitated. Yes, for sure. We would love to have you back in society. No, no, no. You have to make everyone whole. And if that includes giving the family back the body, that is, allowing them to heal. You let them have a funeral, say goodbye to their loved one in a, with some sort of dignity, instead of being like, yeah, our loved one went missing. Their remains could be scattered halfway around the world, got no idea where. That's not dignity. That's a form of torture. So, yeah, interesting. I'd like to have that around the world. Deborah says that we need that here in Canada too. I would be surprised if Canada didn't follow after Australia's, lead in this eventually. Australia and Canada and England tend to all follow each other doing certain things, especially with different court or laws and things like that. They tend to like to borrow from each other. So I would like to see that in Canada too, maybe in some other places. America. I don't know if they could do it in America due to certain constitution and statutes and stuff. I don't know. But I know in Canada, being it's a Commonwealth, they should be able to bring in that same thing, no body, no parole. Sherry Runs 8 said, I've had the worst last year and a half. Yeah, you need the tide to turn now. Everything start going, everything Sherry. Everything will turn up cherry. All right, let's see. Let's see if we can find anything. Okay, so apparently after she received her sentence from the judge, her attorney told the court they intended to appeal. Troconis had dated Fotis Doulos, who was charged with murder, felony murder, and kidnapping before he was found dead in January 2020. Yeah, what a coward. Did a crime, allegedly, charged with it, and left his girlfriend to deal with his mess. So the only one that'll probably ever serve a sentence over what happened to Jennifer is this woman. She's the only one really left. It says, despite her body never being found, Doulos was officially pronounced dead through a declaration of death by a Connecticut judge in October 2023. A court document shows she suffered a combination of traumatic and blunt force injuries, according to the state's chief medical examiner. Authorities found blood-like stains in 3 places on her vehicle, which was parked in her garage in, New Canaan? Her DNA was found in the stains and on the garage wall and door. So that's awful. It says both Fotis and Troconis were previously arrested on suspicious of evidence tampering in the disappearance of Jennifer. They pleaded not guilty to evidence tampering after investigators found a blood-like substance with Jennifer Doulos' DNA in a truck he had access to the day she disappeared. Jennifer had told officials she was afraid of him before her disappearance. They said in her divorce filing, I know that filing for divorce and filing this motion will enrage him. According to the documents, it says, I know he will retaliate by trying to harm me in some way. Well, it didn't just harm her, he made her disappear like a magic trick. She's gone. Don't know where she is. No one's ever found her. It's horrible. And the person who may actually have a full understanding of where she is no longer here either. And the only one who may have an inkling just got sentenced to a few years in jail. How much she knows, I don't know. I'd suspect, though, considering her and Fotis were acting as a joint enterprise or a conspiracy, she might know more than she lets on. She might be just trying to protect her own butt here. Yeah, I mean, you watch that video where the cops come to the garage. I think it tells you everything you need to know about how, they start looking around and all of a sudden their radar goes off in their head and they're all like, something's wrong here. They all just get this weird feeling of like, what the hell? That video for me just speaks volumes. All right, that's enough of that one. That case makes me very sad because I don't know if we'll ever get a resolution to it. Ever. Something magical would have to happen, I reckon. All right, let's see what else is on my list. By the way, no update, I don't think, with the woman with the baby. Woman, baby, river, cook. No, there's been no update in a few days now. And so if you missed that, we've been covering a placenta and an umbilical cord were found on the banks of a Sydney river. Police were appealing for that woman to go to hospital and get a checkup and just say that she's okay. But so far, I don't have anything solid to tell you. Cooks River. Let me just double check. No more information except for hey, no more information other than a couple of days ago through DNA testing, they were able to figure out that the umbilical cord and the placenta belonged to a male baby. So a boy. She gave birth to a little baby boy. But other than that, no one has come forward. No one has presented at a hospital. No update at all. So all we got to hope is that mum and baby are okay. Both are healthy and hopefully not in a domestic violence or abusive situation where they can't speak out. So I hope that's not the case here. I don't know if we'll ever find out. This happens a couple of times, not umbilical cord and placenta, but we've had things like a baby got given birth to and then the baby got left and then the mum ran away. And then we never found out who the mum was and the baby was put up for adoption. That's happened a bunch of times in Australia. Laura says, wow, so the baby won't have a birth certificate. No, you can still register a birth that happens outside of a hospital. You just need a form and a registrar to sign it. That's it. So, no, she still can get a birth certificate for the baby. It's not a problem. I don't know if you can hear that, but Rory's meowing from another room. Hold on. All right. Sorry about that. I'm still a little up and down with my cough. So, but also Rory's meowing from another room, and I'm telling her, if you want a pat, you have to come out from the room. You can't keep. What she does is, she'll go into the bedroom and lie on the bed, and then after a couple of hours, she gets lonely, and she starts calling out. She's like, "Mom, Dad, come here. Come and lie on the bed and give me lots of pats." But we're like, "Hey, it's awake time, cat. You have to come out into the other room." But she doesn't like doing it, so she just starts howling, and she tries to be annoying. But I've told her, you have to come out here if you want a pat. All right. That one. Hope CrimeCon is going well tonight. Friday night is normally a rager of a party at CrimeCon. Everyone has finally settled in. Everyone has booked into the hotel, and I hear there is a lot of drinking going on Friday night. A lot of people are in the bars nearby. I hear there's quite a lot of people doing that. Okay, let's see where our other story is. But yeah, I don't know if I want to do this one. Okay, we'll see. Hold on. So the story I was going to tell you was about a woman who gave birth in an IHOP in Bowling Green, and she tried to flush the baby down the toilet. The reason that she was arrested and figured out is because there was blood. I think she left the toilet area and she was covered in blood, unfortunately. Let me see if I can find anything else. Shaniqua Colwell. Shaniqua. Let me see if I can get a video on her. I can't. So the only one I have is from WBKO TV. Says a Georgia woman charged with, since we're doing a birth in Sydney that they can't find the mum, let's do the reverse. And a birth where they did find the mum. Georgia woman charged with concealing birth of infant in Bowling Green. Here's a photo of her. Her name is Shaniqua D. Colwell, 35, of Georgia. She's been charged with concealing the death of an infant after police responded to an IHOP in Bowling Green on Wednesday evening. They said this story could be disturbing to some because of graphic descriptions. I'll try keep those graphic descriptions to a minimum. It says a Georgia woman was arrested Wednesday evening after authorities found a deceased infant inside a toilet. Shaniqua D. Colwell, 35, was charged with one count of concealing the birth of an infant. Police responded to 3240 Scottsville Road, also the location of an IHOP, just after 8 p.m. A caller said a person was bleeding inside a bathroom and was believed they had miscarried. The caller also told police a baby was in the toilet and a woman had attempted to flush the baby. She allegedly fled on foot while witnesses were trying to call authorities. Officers found a dead infant in the bathroom, according to an arrest citation. She was spotted at a nearby hotel in the 3100 block of Scottsville Road, where she told police she was not pregnant and had not had sex in at least 6 years. So you're the Mother Mary then? It's what is it? An immaculate conception. You just somehow got magically pregnant. It says here, she also told police she was related to Michael Jordan and Denzel Washington. Caldwell refused treatment from EMS at the scene. She was taken into custody for an emergency mental evaluation. An autopsy is pending in the investigation. Additional charges could be possible pending those results from that autopsy of the baby. I think this woman may be, not well. I think the fact that she tried to say she knew Michael Jordan and Denzel Washington is a bit odd. What are they going to do for you? Are they going to come down and play basketball with you or come and film a movie? They're going to reenact training day with you? I don't know. Shock says, I don't understand why these women don't take their babies to a designated safe drop-off if they don't want them. I find that interesting. In Australia, we don't have those safe drop-off things, although I think you can do it. It's just not like America where they even have these safe little pods you can open up. It's got a little bassinet inside. You can put the baby in there, and when you close the door, it starts a timer. I think it's like 5 minutes or something. It's heated, the baby's fine, it's not cold or whatever, and it starts a timer, and after 5 minutes, it starts an alarm. And the person that cares for that particular pod will come and, oh my God, there's a baby there. Okay, let's take care of the baby. But the mum is long gone. She's got 5 minutes to drive away or walk away. never ever being known who put the baby there, right? I think it's a great idea. It'll solve so many children, that'll, you know, not have to be in bad households or whatever. I love it. I think it's a great idea. Although I'm also pro women. I'm pro women having choices and um, any kind of medical things they want to do. It's up to them. I think us as humans should have autonomy over our own bodies, and same with women. They're humans, right? The WBKO ABC 13 is a clip. Okay, I'll have a look. Or if you have it, you can. Oh, you did. She's so fast. Oh no, it wasn't you. Sorry, that was someone else. If you have it, Laura, send it to me. Oh, that's horrible. Apparently, ABC7 Eyewitness News. A 6-week-old baby died in Knoxville, Tennessee, after the family dog attacked the newborn while he was asleep in his crib. His baby Ezra was taking a nap in his crib when the family's husky they owned for 8 years attacked the baby out of nowhere. How terrible. Oh, what a sad little thing.
Was the biggest honor and the best thing I have ever done.
6-week-old Ezra made Chloe and Mark Mansour first-time parents. It's what they've always wanted. They loved and cared for their son every day. With 2 dogs in the house, with no history of aggression, they never imagined there would be a fear for their child's safety. While Ezra was taking a nap in his crib, the family's husky that they owned for 8 years out of nowhere attacked.
And to just bring awareness that it can be any dog at any time, completely unprovoked, no matter what the history is.
In the midst of tragedy, this family hopes others can take a closer look at how to keep their children safe, as they now think back to every precious moment they had with their son.
Really don't take anything for granted, even if it's a moment that you're annoyed in the moment or frustrated. All of those little moments are still so amazing.
This family decided to help other families through organ donation. As they process this tragedy, they say working to save the lives of others has given them much needed peace in a time of grieving.
Pray for all the family, really. Everyone loved him so much. I know that everyone's grieving right now. We're grieving right now. And I know it's going to be a lifelong process of trying to work through this.
Families through.
I don't know what to say. I just feel like it's sad that a baby died. It's sad that, they've lost their child. And it's, awful that baby wasn't around for very long, right? Only, what was it, less than a year old? Let's see. How old was this little baby? A 6-week-old. 6 weeks, that's all. It was only born. Man, that mum, I do feel sorry for her. Her freaking mind must be absolutely scrambled eggs right now. Having a baby and then having to learn how to be a mum and then have to deal with all the things that happen after you have the baby, like, there's a lot of hormone changes and mental changes because, like, you no longer have those. You spent 9 months getting used to having all this other stuff going on with your body, and then when it leaves, you're like, oh my God, I have to adjust to that. Now she has to adjust to not even having the baby. I mean, I feel very awful for them. I just don't understand. How did this happen? It says, while Ezra was taking a nap in his crib, the family's husky that they owned for 8 years attacked out of nowhere. I wonder, is that a known thing with husky dogs? Are they good with children? I've never heard of a husky attacking little babies. I guess maybe it saw it like a prey item. Right, they still have like these deep instincts. Yeah, I don't know. They said the husky had a very good history and they'd never seen it attack anything in 8 years. But I have heard that a lot of people you're supposed to like have like fences around the baby. like big fences so the dog can't get to it unless you wanted to get to the baby. I'm not blaming them, just saying that there are some advice out there saying that you really need to have your home very well fenced off for the animals, so the baby has its own space. It can't get anywhere unless you're with it, that type of thing. Not victim blaming. I'm just saying that I've read this for other families in our family that have dogs. They're pack dogs. Yeah, it's interesting. Do you think that maybe it saw, there's one, I've seen a theory that people think that sometimes these dogs attack babies because they don't like that there's a new person in the home that's stealing all the attention where normally they would be the attention center. I don't know. Yeah, that's what I mean, Jojo. It was the baby for 8 years. So was it a jealousy thing that mum and dad are just giving so much time to the baby that he's not getting all the pats and walks and things like that? Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if there's a person who studies like uh, dog behavior that can tell you how that works when you bring a baby into a home. Does it really mess up the hierarchy with a pack animal like a husky? They're used to being a chain of command in a pack or a pull. Does that cause any sort of negative things with a dog? It's something I'd have to look up. Yeah, my I can tell you a story about a husky. Our relative had a husky and she loved it. I can't remember what she called it, but she had it for a long time. She ended up having to rehome him on a farm because she moved to a smaller place. And the dog, when she was at work, literally would run circles in the backyard. And it just built a racetrack in the backyard in the grass. Like you go out into the grass and there would be grass everywhere except for this track it ran. It ran this like circular track all day long, just round in circles, round and round and round and round, and it worked it into the ground. So she realized that the dog needed like more space, more attention during the day. So she sent it out to a family member who lived on a giant farm out in the bush and let it live out there because it just obviously wasn't the right situation for it. And she was worried it would eventually get bored with running around in circles and probably start tearing apart the house or the fence to try and get out. So they need to have a lot of stimulus, those working dogs. I Hate Morning says animals can get jealous too with a new baby. Everybody's busy with a new baby and the dog kind of just gets left out. I kept the door closed to the nursery during naps and nights so my cat adjusted. That's a good one. I think that's a good idea because I heard there was a story a few years ago. Let's not demonize dogs. There was a cat who jumped into a crib and slept on a baby and killed it from suffocation. I think it was like 5 years ago. And yeah, it jumped into the crib and curled up in a ball just on top of the baby's face. And the baby suffocated and died. So you just got to be careful with any type of pet, I guess. Yeah, unless you train it. Yeah, it needed stimulation. Yeah, that's why she sent it out to the relatives on the farm because she knew it wasn't the right situation for the dog. All right. All right, maybe we don't have any more baby stories tonight. What? Rory, I'm going to come get you and spank you. What are you doing?
And it's been 4 days since the family of 15-year-old Isa Rodriguez has heard from her. They say she walked out of her Northwest Side home early Sunday morning, and her family is concerned she may have met someone online posing as a juvenile. KENS 5's Mike Jimenez spoke with her family and joins us live with the latest details. Mike.
Audrey, the family of 15-year-old Isa Rodriguez says she was last seen leaving her home here at the subdivision, the park at Vista del Norte, and that was on Sunday. Since then, they say they fear the worst in her disappearance.
With each day that passes, it gets more scarier, the thoughts of where she is or who she's with or where she could be.
The family of 15-year-old Isa Rodriguez say she walked out of her home early Sunday morning, leaving the back door open. And since then, no one has heard from her.
She hasn't reached out to any of her friends. She hasn't reached out to any of us.
Isa's sister, Gwendolyn, says she took a few belongings with her, but left her phone behind, which showed some concerning activity.
When we went through her phone, we realized that she was talking to strangers online.
Isa's family says they've tried talking to her about the dangers of talking to strangers online, but feels someone may have taken advantage of her.
Everyone was a teenager once, you think you know everything, and the world is just so scary out there.
Isa's disappearance has caused her family a lot of stress, and they say they just want her back home.
Please come home. We miss her. We love her. I don't know if she thinks that she's gone this far, that she might be in more trouble. Just come home. We're very worried about her.
And if you have any information about Isa's whereabouts, you're urged to contact San Antonio's Missing Persons Unit at 210-207.
Reminds me very much of that girl who went missing in Arizona like 10 years ago. It definitely sounds like she met someone online for sure. I think the family are in the right direction with this. Definitely, I think they are not silly. Oh, she was Ping. Why don't you check your stories before you do them? I do this on purpose so you guys get the full story. So apparently Isa Rodriguez, the 15-year-old at the center of the story, has been found as of Friday afternoon. Her family told KENS5. So that's good. But I hope she doesn't run away again. Sometimes when these kids start this type of behavior, it tends to happen again and again. So I hope whatever the issue is with her and her family, they can rectify it. Alicia Navarro. Yeah. Well, yeah, she's home. It's good. All right. What did DJ send me? DJ likes to tell me stories. What is an Ashanti alert? This is a new one for me. I've never heard of an Ashanti alert. Thank you, Laura. I got that link from you. Thank you. I'll show it in a minute. I just want to have a look at this one. Cindy Roberson Gobble. That's a long name. 60 of Moxville on Thursday after she reportedly disappeared. What is an Ashanti alert? Is that similar to a medical alert? I have to look this up because I've never heard of it. What is an Ashanti alert? Oh, okay. An Ashanti alert is used when investigators think an adult who doesn't fall under an amber or silver alert has been abducted or kidnapped. How does that work? This is for anyone between the ages of 18 and 64. Interesting. An Ashanti alert. What age is an Ashanti? Yeah. So it has to be a kidnapping or an abduction. And they have to be fear and danger of their life. Okay. All right. 18 hours ago. So this is another one that was found. That's good. DJ, did you know they were found? Not found. Not in a good way. Yeah. Let's play the
Breaking
update.
news in Davie County. The sheriff's office says they found the bodies of two people reported missing from Moxville.
Deputies confirming late this afternoon they discovered the bodies of Cynthia Gobble and Greg Gobble in a wooded area in Iredell County around 11 this morning.
We're told investigators are still at the scene at this hour. Deputies aren't sharing too much about the investigation, but they don't believe anyone else is involved, and they say there's no danger to the public.
We are following several breaking news stories here on the top of the Fox 8 4 o'clock news. Davie County deputies say a missing woman and the man suspected of kidnapping her have been found dead in Iredell County. Today, investigators say Cynthia and Gregory Gobble were found dead in a wooded area on the Iredell County side of the Iredell-Davie County line. Now, no other information is being released at this time, but the sheriff's office says detectives are currently processing the scene. An Ashanti alert was issued yesterday after Cynthia disappeared from her home in Moxville. Now, these alerts are issued for missing adults who are believed to be in danger or abducted. Officials say they do not have any suspects. We are following several breaking news stories here on the top of the Fox 8 4 o'clock news. Davie County deputies say a missing woman and the man suspected of kidnapping her have been found dead in Iredell County. Today, investigators say Cynthia and Gregory Gobble were found dead in a wooded area on the Iredell County side of the Iredell-Davie County line. Now, no other information is being released at this time, but the sheriff's office says detectives are currently processing the scene. An Ashanti alert was issued yesterday after Cynthia disappeared from her home in Moxville.
Yeah, I know it's muted. It's okay. It just dropped out. Our video dropped out for some reason. I was fixing it. I don't know why it dropped out. It just all of a sudden we had no more video and no more shared screen. It just went skudunk and went away. I don't know. It's happened before too. I have no idea what causes it. Must be a bit of a bug with StreamYard. Shock says, do other states have silver alert for older people? Actually, in a video not long ago, we did actually go through them. In different states, they have different names for them, so I can show you. Some of them are called slightly different things here. So, like Alabama, it's called a missing senior alert. Colorado, a missing senior citizen alert. Ohio is called a missing adult alert. They've all got different names. And then Nebraska, it's called an endangered missing advisory. Pennsylvania, it's called a missing and endangered person advisory. In Minnesota, it's called Brandon's Law. So they all have different names for it. But in these particular states here, it's just called a silver alert. These ones here have more like a longer name for it. Something to do with like senior citizen or senior alert. And then these ones are more like vulnerable, endangered person. And so there's a few different naming schemes that are put into place for it, but they basically mean the same thing. So there you go. Hey Yuda, how are you? By the way, I want to thank someone I didn't get to thank yesterday, and that is Deborah. Deborah, thank you so much for your donation. I really appreciate that. That ended up in my account must have been this morning, and I didn't see it before we jumped on. But Deborah, thank you so much. So kind of you to think of this channel. I very much appreciate it. Your granddaughter wants to work so bad, but she's just too young. So I put her to work painting the doors in the bathroom, mudroom, and foyer. If she does a good job, I'll find more jobs. I think that's a good way of doing it with little kids. You build up their work ethic by working with family. And then once they're a little older, they're able to apply that work ethic in their own way, when they're teenagers and a bit more. So I think it's a good way of doing it. Very sad. It's sad we've had 2 now. The first one, she was found. That's good. The second one, they are dead. Guessing it's a murder S. Missing Davis County man suspected kidnapping found dead. All right, hold on. Let me find out more information and an update on this one. It was only 9 hours ago. Fox WGHP. Not one I go to very often. Let's have a look. A woman and the man suspected of possibly kidnapping her have been found dead, according to the Davie County Sheriff's Office. Cynthia Sidney Gobble, 60, of Mocksville, on Thursday after she was reportedly disappeared from her home. The suspect was identified as Gregory Wayne Gobble, 59, of the same town. There's a photo of them. The family said it was odd for her to be out of touch this long, and her personal belongings were found in her vehicle. But no information about... It just says the county detectives are currently processing the scene. We do not suspect that any other people were involved in this incident, and there is no other continuing danger to members of the community. Okay. So basically, they suspect that he killed her, and this is a family domestic MS word. Yeah. You may have forgotten to take your meds. Talk to Danny. No worries. Hi, Diane. How are you? Another horrible. How many of these do we see? I want to see the statistics for murder S word on a... By the way, damn it. Now that we have the monetization on, I literally cannot say those words anymore. Before, when I could get around it, but now I literally can't even say that M word anymore. If I do, it picks it up with the AI bot, and it just turns off everything on the channel. It's really frustrating. There's a whole list of words we can and can't say on YouTube. But that's what it's sounding like. I want to see the statistics from 1970 to 1990, and then from 1990 to today. And I want to see if there is an uptick in this type of crime, a male or female killing their significant other. You could also have children in that range too, but I'd rather just see the partner violence. And I want to know if when we hit 1990s, did it just go double hockey sticks to the sky? Because it just feels that way. It feels like we just hear it so much often. And it feels like maybe in past decades, it was reported and it did happen. We've seen it. But it wasn't as prevalent. It wasn't as common. Now it's like every week we're like, oh yeah, that guy killed his, auntie. That guy killed his wife. Oh, that guy killed his wife. Oh, she died and she killed her husband, and blah 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 blah. It happens all the time. There's a few of them out there. There's even these little they're like, what do they call them? I don't know what they call them. They're little rectangle things, and you put them on their keychain, or you put it in the zipper on their bag or whatever, attach it to their wallet, whatever you want to do, and it'll literally track them. And you can track, like, your kids or whatever. If you're a creepy person, you could probably track someone else. I've never fixed a vacuum, but Danny Mitchell is our official subscriber watcher. Danny says, thank you, new subscriber. Yes, thank you. It is a real shame. We lost about 15 people when I was sick, and I was off for that 5-6 days. I anticipated that would happen. There's not much I can do about it. I was sick. I literally, if I was here, you guys would have been like, Ping, please stop coming on when you sound like this. You sound just terrible. We don't want to listen to this. We'd rather you just go sleep. Got hit like a ton of bricks on that, though. That was awful. All right. Let me see what else I have for you. How about we have a good story? How about I do a good story out of Florida? How often do we have a good story in Florida? Here, young teens rescue driver from canal in North Lauderdale. I think it's a great story. Two young teens were hailed as heroes after they bravely rescued a driver whose vehicle had plunged into a canal in Broward County. Just before 9 p.m. Wednesday, Sheriff Officer deputies and North Lauderdale Fire Rescue units were dispatched to a crash at 7135 West McNabb Street, or West McNabb Road. The incident occurred when a driver lost control of his Toyota truck, which ended up submerged in the canal on the road. Tony Cooper and his friend Elijah Hodge, who were at a nearby restaurant, immediately sprang into action. They said, "We rushed off and took off our shoes and stuff. We literally just jumped on the hood, and then we took off the seatbelt, and then we pulled them out. I started screaming at him because he was heavy while he was in the car. We screaming, he woke up, we helped him get out of the car, and after that, he was on the hood, and then we pulled him out onto the grass." According to the 13-year-olds, they saw the vehicle and the man go into the water, ran across the parking lot from the nearby Dollar Tree, and jumped in to assist. They removed his seatbelt and pulled him to safety. I gotta find this. They're saying there's cell phone video. Cell phone video showed drivers entering the water in attempt to pull out the pickup truck from the canal. Okay, I want to find this because that's cool. Oh, it might be here. Let's watch.
On Just One Station, teens race to the rescue when a car crashes into a canal.
Tonight, the community giving back, offering a reward and words of thanks to these young lifesavers. The pair wasting no time jumping right into the water to help.
Now they're being hailed as heroes. Now team's Michael Hudak is in North Lauderdale with the exclusive now. Michael?
One mother who had tragedy hit her family in a very similar situation to what happened here on Wednesday night was so compelled by the original 7 News story that she showed up here in person today to personally thank those 2 young men.
What's your name?
Tony Cooper.
And you are?
Elijah Hodge.
Tony and Elijah, 2 13-year-olds turned heroes who did not think twice about trying to save a life.
I feel great. I feel happy.
The boys were walking back from the Dollar Tree across West McNabb in North Lauderdale when they saw a Toyota truck barrel into the canal Wednesday night.
Then we ran across all the traffic.
And then they just jump into the water. They just went into the hood. One of them went on top of a hood, and the other one was in the water, trying to pull the men out.
Started screaming at him because he was heavy while he was in the car. We screaming. He woke up. We helped him get out of the car.
I would advise that the man is getting out of the vehicle and is on the embankment.
Just feet away from where they helped save this man's life, a ring and a sign with a young man's picture. Aiden Perry, who was 17 years old when he jumped into a lake when a car crashed into it near his Sunrise home back in 2022. Aiden hit his head on a rock and died trying to save a life.
I couldn't believe it because it brings back that night. I mean, I can relive that night every day. But they are extremely brave to do what they did, and I'm so proud of them. I don't think they realized the risks that were involved. And just like my son, they didn't think. They saw somebody that needed help, they jumped in. That's what a true hero does.
Aiden's mom, Sarah Perry, has made it her life mission to place more than 300 of these rings next to bodies of water since her son's death, along with a message, throw, don't go, encouraging heroes like Tony and Elijah to attempt throwing these kinds of rings into the water before jumping in themselves. So when she saw their story, she wanted to show up and thank them in person.
It scares when you think what could have happened to you.
And teach them a valuable lesson that could end up not just saving someone's life in the event of an emergency, but their own as well.
Where's my boys? I just want to say thank you from my heart to your heart.
This 7 News viewer named Nancy was so compelled by the story as well that she showed up and offered the boys 2 $250 checks.
What great kids. I love that. And I love that the community came out. Like this lady, she's like their grandma, right? She's just like, oh, my little boys. And she's like pinching their cheeks and handing them like some Werther's Originals and a check. I mean, come on. Is there anything more greater in life? Those 2 boys deserve everything. I love the fact that the community rallied around them. Although I don't like that lady, I know she's scared because her own son died trying to save a life too. Wait, I think we reported on his story when it actually happened. It's extremely sad, and I love that she's trying to make sure that no other kids happen like it happens to them, trying to help people. But I feel like when I was listening to her little speech, it almost sounded like she was trying to scare them off from doing it again. Did you hear that? She was almost like, "Oh, it scares me what you're doing." Like you don't want to scare them like from doing this type of stuff. They did a great job. They're here today. Yes, maybe it could have gone in a different direction like your sons, but you don't want to make them not ever want to help again. So I like her program though too. I like her program putting the rings, the safety rings in different places. But that just kind of irked me a little bit when I heard her speaking. But it is still cool. I like her program with the putting the life rings in different waterways. But yeah, I love it. I love this lady. This lady, she just had to rush down and give them each a check. And I hope that teaches the boys that um not always will you get a check and a kiss from a grandma, but good deeds will bring many good things to you in your future. May not always be monetary, but hope they keep doing good things for their community. They look like two great kids. They really do. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Let's watch the rest of it. I want to see what this lady says.
I am just so proud of you boys. Thank you.
Samson Borgelin, the mayor of North Lauderdale, released a statement to 7 News specifically about these 2 young men. I want to read part of that to you right now. I am incredibly proud of these young citizens and their heroic efforts. I will be reaching out to them and their families to formally recognize their bravery. On another note, the man who crashed into the canal on Wednesday night in that Toyota truck was unresponsive when he was pulled out of the vehicle by the 2 young men. He is now in stable condition. We are live in North Lauderdale tonight. Michael Hudak, 7 News Night Team.
The guy was unresponsive. They are heroes. They're heroes, and I hope the mayor of the local town recognizes them. They do like a yearly, people in the community that do heroic acts. Once a year, they tend to, do heroic bravery awards and things like that through the fire department or the police department. I hope they recognize those boys with a nice medal at the end of the year. They saved his life. He was unresponsive in the water. That is crazy. There's adults that wouldn't even do what those kids did, so they deserve everything from their community. Yeah, it wouldn't have helped. They apparently they literally had to drag him out the window, drag him onto the bonnet, and then pull him over the car and then onto the grass. So the fact that those 2 boys, very young teenagers, were able to do it, their community should rally around them, which I think they are, and show them how much doing good deeds is appreciated by the community. They'll be heroes at school. When they get back from summer break, everyone's going to love them at their public school or private school, wherever they go. I'd rather have 50 of those stories than have to tell you about another woman who was killed in a domestic violence situation. If we could have 50 of these every night, I'd love it. It's great. Did we ever find out if that guy was the guy with the boat that killed the girl in Florida? Did we ever find out if he got charged with anything? Let's have a look. Boat, Florida. Let's see how this investigation is going. You remember it killed that ballerina, that girl who was trying to be a ballerina. This girl, this 15-year-old, Ella Adler. Ella Adler is the name. Let's see if we find anything. I don't see an update. Maybe they're still investigating. Past week. I don't see any decent update on it. Since that guy, what's his name? Carlos Alonso, 78, was identified by Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission as the owner of the boat that killed Ella. I think he was brought in for questioning. They took his boat as well. And they must be still investigating the circumstances surrounding her death. Haven't heard about the one in Florida? We did do a little bit of it. Hold on. Let's see if I can find you here.
New developments tonight in the boat crash that claimed the life of a teenage girl. Tonight, police believe this was the boat involved. Chopper 4 over the scene as the vessel was being towed from a Coast Guard station to Florida Fish and Wildlife. It's a major break in the case as authorities try to piece together what led to the tragic death of Ella Adler.
The 15-year-old was water skiing over the weekend when she was struck and killed by a boat that never stopped. CBS News Miami's Peter Dent joins us live from Coral Gables. And Peter, police say the recent discovery was possible because of witnesses who came forward.
That's right, Elliot and Lauren. In fact, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission is crediting witnesses in this case with helping solve this case. FWC says the search for the boat that struck and killed the 15-year-old girl is over. From Chopper 4, we see activity behind a Coral Gables home. FWC officers are boarding a boat that matches the description of the vessel that they have been looking for since Ella Adler lost her life last weekend.
The boat is in our custody and its owner is cooperating. We'd like to thank all the public for their help and support in this investigation.
It's a break in the case since Ella, a student at Ransom Everglades School, was killed. She had been water skiing late Saturday afternoon near the Nixon Beach sandbar off Key Biscayne when she fell off her water skis and was struck by a boat that did not stop.
As FWC Commission Chairman Ronnie Barreto said, and I quote, "Our community suffered a great loss this Mother's Day weekend."
Barreto also said in a statement, "As a father and grandfather, my heart is broken for the Adler family. I would like to thank all of our officers and those from various law enforcement agencies who have worked and continue to work tirelessly on the investigation."
The FWC and its officers have called in additional resources from other parts of the state and have worked around the clock to find the vessel involved in the accident.
We also heard from the family of Ella Adler. In a statement, family spokesman and attorney Eitan Marks said the world lost a star this weekend. Ella was beautiful and shined brightly in her 15 years. She gave us more light than we could have ever dreamed. While we cope with this unspeakable tragedy, we ask the public to give us our privacy as we mourn.
I'll leave it there. It doesn't look like there's any new updates since they were able to identify that boat owner, identify the boat, and then take the boat into custody. It seems like they're still investigating. So hopefully, what a beautiful young girl. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that. All I've heard is that it was her and another girl being towed behind the boat. They both fell off, one at different locations, and before the boat could turn around and come back to pick up her, she was struck by a boat. Yeah, it's a powerful boat, right? If they're each even 500 horsepower, that's like a 2,000 horsepower boat. That thing would fly. Like that thing would just absolutely cane it across the water. I mean, you don't even need 4 engines. I mean, you could just 2,000 horsepowers, and that thing is a speedboat. So I don't even know what those engines are. I can't tell. Let's have a look. I don't know. I can't. They've got like a white housing over them, so you can't see the branding, but they look pretty big. They could be 250s. Could be, I don't know. I'm not a boat person. I know that they do make some 1,000 horsepower motors that are about that big. They look fairly chunky, so it is a large boat. Don't know. That'll be part of their investigation, I am guessing. So there, if you didn't know about that one, there is no update. I'll bring it to you when I have it. I just wanted to, before we go for the night, yeah, the fellow his name is Carlos Alonso. Hold on, I just want to have a look at the. I just wanted to see if there was anything other about the woman found in the boot. Lisa Dashnow. If there's anything about her. What? There is an update.
Charging a suspect with the murder of a woman in Plattsburgh. I'm Brian Colleran.
And I'm Liz Streppel. We've learned that the man who police say did it was actually married to the victim. The Clinton County District Attorney tells NBC5 that Scott Tyrell is being arraigned in the Peru Town Court, charged with murder in the second degree. Lisa Dashnaw was found in the trunk of a car in Plattsburgh this week. She was a nutritionist at CVPH and was a mom. Her body was found in an overdue Enterprise rental car that was reclaimed under what police are calling suspicious circumstances.
State police sharing new information today. The rental car was found on Dogwood Avenue in Plattsburgh. It was then towed back to Enterprise. A trooper was on hand while the tow truck driver went through the vehicle. That's when they found Lisa's body. New York State police say that she was strangled to death. Tyrell has pled not guilty. Tonight he's being held without bail. He'll be back in court on June 11th.
Well. What do we have here? A mother who was murdered by her husband and then put into a rental car that was overdue. They repoed it, and when they took it back to the lot, they found her body in the boot. I mean, that explains a lot. We couldn't find a husband listed in her obituary the other night, and we were all going, was she seeing someone? Did she divorce? Did she have a husband? Not that you have to have a husband, but she had 3 children. So we were like, well, she must have had a partner at some point. So here we go. Scott Tyrell, 58. Here he is being escorted out of a police cruiser, apparently. Let me see if I can get onto this link. Let's see if I can find a better update for him. There we go. WCAX. Here's a photo of him. For some reason, he's got a neck cast on. Okay, buddy. There's a photo of the man accused of killing Lisa Dashnow. Scott A. Tyrell. A Peru, New York man was charged on Friday with murdering his wife and dumping her body in the trunk of the rental car. Scott Tyrell, 58, pleaded not guilty in Peru Town to second-degree murder and concealment of a human corpse. Police say he strangled his wife Lisa sometime between March and April. Her body was found in the town of Plattsburgh Tuesday in the trunk of a rental car that was last rented to him. They said police say Tyrell was picked up during a traffic stop Friday morning in the city. His next due in court on June 11th. That explains why they kept it so quiet. They knew exactly. Remember how we spoke about it the other night? Where like, if this was a rental car that someone had rented, they're gonna have to know who rented it. And there you go. It may get upgraded, Danny. It may be that it's so early in the investigation that all they know is that he killed her, but they don't have the rest of the details yet. So they may have started off with second degree, and if they can prove other motivation, they may upgrade his charges to first degree homicide. We'll see. We'll see what happens. He wins the most ignorant award to date. I mean, yeah. But I'm glad they turned that around. That was a fast turnaround. Yeah, it should be first degree. If they're saying he strangled her, then they have to prove premeditation, right? So it might take some time. They may not just have all the information yet. I mean, they only found her like 3 days ago, so the investigation is really, really young, very early. But if she was killed over 2 months ago, was no one missing her? Were her children not missing their mum? I find that very interesting. Were they not asking where their mother is? Were they not saying, the grandchildren would like to see grandma? We might find out more later on, but I'm happy that this absolute loser is behind bars. Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. Alleged loser is behind bars. Allegedly. But yes, that's my question. If she was killed sometime in April or earlier, was no one calling her? Says, yeah, so we know that. Let's see here. It says he was arrested early Friday morning in downtown Plattsburgh. He's been charged with killing his wife, Lisa Dashnell. Dashnell's husband was arraigned in Peru Town Court Friday afternoon, where he pleaded not guilty to 2 charges, second-degree murder and concealing a corpse. The community has been reeling since police found Dashnell's body in the trunk of a car parked at the Enterprise on the corner of Route 3 and Military Turnpike. Police say she was strangled and dumped in the trunk, but that's all the information they have provided until now. Police say the car was an overdue rental car and employees at the Enterprise found it at a private residence on Dogwood Avenue. According to investigators, the car was towed back to Enterprise when Dashnell's body was later discovered in the trunk. Tyrell was the last known person to be driving the car. His next court date is June 11th. Yeah, so they definitely knew him. They definitely knew that he rented that car. He was the last person. Very interesting. So she's already gone through autopsy, and that she was strangled to death. Yeah, probably wanted to leave his butt and take all the money and take all the house, and he was like, "Oh, I can't let a woman control my life. Let me kill her instead." All right, I think we got to wind up. We've been on for almost 2 hours. Almost 2 hours. Been a long Friday night show. A really long Friday night show. I hope you all had fun tonight. It was a pretty good show. And I'll definitely be back tomorrow. I wish we had a Cold Justice episode to do, but we do not. There is no Cold Justice. It is finished. We did every episode this year, and that's it. We have to wait till next February for season 8. What will we do tomorrow night? I have no idea, but we will figure it out. I'm going to have to contact StreamYard to find out what happened to our countdown video. It's very odd that it just went missing. It just disappeared. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hey, I appreciate everyone who supports this channel. We have so many great people who either leave a comment or come in and chat each night. Some other people help out with a donation here and there, or a super chat now here and there. It is much appreciated. I try and put on as many shows as I can throughout the week, and we'll definitely have more, tomorrow, the day after, Sunday. We very rarely take a day off. We're almost on 7 nights a week, every week. So, yeah, you want to hear more? 50-something% of the people who watch this channel are unsubscribed. And I would like to see that number get reduced a little bit. So if you're one of these people that tune in every night but haven't hit that subscribe button, I would really appreciate it. And you'll get notifications about when we go live And sometimes we go live very quickly depending on breaking news. So it'll help you out too. Hey, I'd like to thank Deborah Lewis for that donation tonight. I appreciate that. I'd also like to thank my friend Moon Shadow for your super chat or super sticker. It doesn't tell me which one it is. But that is very kind of you, very generous. Same with you, Mr. Dan Yee. Dan Yee sent the Woot sticker. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate it. I like putting your dog on the screen. He looks very happy. But yeah, thank you for supporting the channel. I appreciate it. Yeah, everyone, have a great night. I hope some of you were able to catch some CrimeCon content, and that was a lot of fun. There'll probably be more over the weekend. Everyone's there right now. Did you know, like, Nate Eaton couldn't be in court today because he flew to CrimeCon. He had to go to CrimeCon. Same with Joseph Scott Morgan. Joseph Scott Morgan, I think, is at CrimeCon too. Trish is at CrimeCon. Everyone's at CrimeCon but me. I'm not there. Hey Jojo, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. Hey, I love you all. Angela, Laura, Deborah, Diane, and Utah. How are you? Good to see you. DJ, my friend, Sherry, Andrew, and who else is here? I think that might be it. But Diane, Amber. All right. Hey, thank you guys so much. Have a great night, and try and get some. Oh, Mike King is there. Of course, Mike King is there. Why wouldn't he be? Hey, Melissa, how are you? Good to see you. All right. Hey, good night, everyone. Have a great night. We're going to be back tomorrow for another, what day is it? Saturday. Saturday night live stream. I'll work with Trish. I don't know if she's going to do a live show tomorrow night or not. If she is, then I'll talk to her and see who's going to go on and who's going to do what and what time. We'll figure it out. Weekends are a little up and down. Weekdays are very strict on our time schedule. We're on at 9 p.m. and then we're on at midnight Eastern. But during the weekend, it can fluctuate a little bit. So, yeah, it's normally Friday, Saturday are the bit of the funny ones. So just keep that in mind if you don't see a 9 p.m. show on Friday or Saturday. That's okay. Did you see Kresha? How's she doing? I hope she's doing great. I left her a message yesterday. Jury watch. Hey, well, got to get that. See what happens with Daybell. I just want it to be over for all of them. I know we've still got to do Arizona, but to have a base sentence for both of these two would be a fantastic thing. And to know that, they just don't have to worry anymore about any of it would be great. Although they still have to kind of worry about Arizona, but that's sort of like a bonus round. But just to have these two main ones over would be brilliant. All right. Hey, I love you all. See you tomorrow. Hey, tomorrow is the 1st. That means brand new ending video. If your name hasn't been added since I've been sick, it will be on the new video for tomorrow night. So check it out. We're going to have new music, a new ending video. It'll be a lot of fun. Until then, bye-bye. Hey, I love you all. Have a great Saturday morning, all right? Be safe out there. I'm Ping. This is Nights with Ping. Good night.